I'm Rip Esselstyn, and you're listening to the Plant Strong podcast. If you're someone who thinks a whole food, plant-based diet is too complicated, too time-consuming, or just plain bland, get ready to have those excuses roasted and toasted with my guest today, Brandi Doming, known for her fast and flavorful recipes, many with less than 8 ingredients. Brandi is back with her latest book, Vegan, Wholesome, and we'll have her story right after these words from Plant Strong. I want to read to you all an email that I received earlier this week. Hi, Rip. I'm Carolyn, and I just wanted to share how your meal plan bundle has completely changed the way that I approach food. I wanted to eat healthier for years, but juggling a busy schedule made it feel nearly impossible for me to stay consistent. I'd start strong and then fall off when life got chaotic, which was often. This bundle gave me something that I didn't even know that I needed, a flexible system. With just one weekly grocery trip and pantry staples from Plant Strong, I suddenly had everything that I needed to make quick, satisfying meals without starting from scratch every day. And what I love most is the versatility. I can mix and match based on what I'm craving, and even when my schedule throws me off, I'm never more than a few minutes away from a healthy meal that I'm actually excited to eat. I finally feel in control of my food choices without feeling boxed in. Thanks for making life easier. I'm a forever fan of all that you do. Caroline. Well, Caroline, thank you for taking the time to write me. It means so much to hear how you've been helped with our system. And if any of you out there, if you want to try the meal plan pantry bundle that provides a full week of breakfast, lunches, dinners, and snacks, just head on over to plantstrong.com. And for a limited time, you'll get a free box of popcorn with your order of the full bundle. Today, I am sitting down with the incredibly talented Brandi Doming, the creative force behind the Vegan 8 brand and the author of the brand new book, Vegan Wholesome. Her recipes are fast, they're flavorful, and oil-free. Her journey into the Plant Strong lifestyle is one that really hits home. She made the shift to support her husband's health journey, and what started as a healing mission quickly became her life's work. We talk about that journey of reclaiming her life, rediscovering her love of dance, and why she believes that wholesome food should be easy, accessible, and crazy delicious. This is a conversation that will feed your soul, nourish your body, and just might have you dancing in your own kitchen as you rediscover the simplicity of healthy eating. Please welcome Brandi Doming. Hey, Brandi. Good to see you this morning.
It's great to see you.
We have never met before. It's the first
time.
Yeah, and it's high time, and I'm really glad that we have. For those of you that don't know Brandi's last name is Doming, and she has been a influencer, author in the vegan plant-based space for a number of years. She has a new book that she has penned that has come out that I really want to dive into with you because I was just lapping up many of the recipes that are in this book. But before we do that, I want to kind of go back a little bit and talk about you and your journey. Sound good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Right. So just so I know, where am I talking to you from this morning?
Houston, Texas.
You're in good old Houston, Texas.
Yes.
Wonderful. And, for those that are watching via YouTube or something where they can see, you really love to work out. I mean, right behind you, everybody, just so I can paint the picture. Is that a pull-up bar and a dip machine?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you still doing dips?
Yes, I use it for everything. I even hang upside down off on my legs on the top bar.
Oh my
I do like,
goodness.
ab crunches like that.
Oh. So is it fair to say that you're pretty hardcore?
Yeah, I'd say so. I'm pretty strong.
Well, this is what I'm going to ask. I'm not going to ask you to do 10 or 15 pull-ups, but before we go, and so everybody, I want you to hang out for the entirety of this interview. Before you leave, you're going to do 3 pull-ups for us.
Oh,
Three,
I don't
just
know about
three.
that.
All right, all right, all right. Well, then we'll do two. Then we'll do two. We need, or you're just going to hang from the bar, but we need to see something. All right. Yes. See, one of my things is I love making people very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I can tell.
Good, good. Uh, so your brand is basically until you wrote your latest book, and I'm not going to say what that is yet, was Vegan 8, correct?
Correct. Yeah, the vegan
And-
egg.
Yeah, and that all started through a blog that you had started writing. Is that correct?
Yes, in 2013. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
So 12 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. I've been doing this
Huh.
for a long time. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Well, nothing like consistency and grinding away.
Yes. Yeah, it's still my blog. It's just my first book was called The Vegan Eight, and yeah, that was my first book that came out multiple years ago.
Yeah, yeah. And what was the whole premise of your first book, The Vegan 8, or Vegan 8 rather?
Yeah. Well, when I first started writing my blog in 2000, well, I started in 2012 and then I changed the name to The Vegan 8 in 2013. And the reason I changed it to The Vegan 8 was that I noticed the recipes that people were making the most were 8 ingredients or less. Like those were the ones that I was getting, feedback from and people making a lot and loving. And I wanted my blog to stand out from all the other vegan blogs. So I was looking for ways that it would stand out in looking at the recipes that were most made. And that's when I realized, wait, none of them are more than 8 ingredients. So I thought that's my hook. That's my focus. So that's when I started writing all recipes that were no more than 8 ingredients. And that's how that started. And then my blog really took off after that. That's how I got the book deal with my first book. And I did that for about 9 years. And then I guess 3 to 4 years ago, I stopped doing only 8 ingredient recipes because I wanted to be more, creative with my recipes and I was limited. So I stopped that about 4 years. I still do recipes with 8 ingredients or less, but the new book is not limited to 8 ingredients like my first book.
Yeah. What is your background? Do you have a background as a chef or a cook, or how did you get into doing, recipes with 8 ingredients or less to begin with?
Well, I've cooked since I was a kid. My
Ah,
mom was a fabulous cook, and so I learned how to cook from her cookbooks. I'm not like a culinary chef. I didn't go to school or anything. I just learned from my mom and her cookbooks. And I started writing recipes on my own in my 20s. And so that was just a natural thing for me to be really creative in the kitchen. And then when I went vegan, I had to, of course, learn a whole new way of writing recipes. And I had really a lot of fun making everything from plants and that still making them taste amazing. So that's when I thought, well, maybe I'll, start a blog because I already was posting my recipes that were not vegan online, like, chicken and all that kind of thing. And people were making them. But then when I went vegan, I was like, okay, well, guess what? There's no more meat recipes or dairy. I'm gonna start posting vegan recipes, and that's just how it all started.
yeah. And what prompted you to start leaving out the meat and going full hardcore veg?
Well, at the time I was married, and my husband had gout really bad, like a very severe form of it. He was on crutches a lot, on a lot of medications, bedridden a lot, and we tried multiple diets, and nothing improved. For years, he suffered. So that's when I started researching about plant-based and how it helped with inflammation in the body. And so I basically just told him, okay, we're going vegan. Let's see if this helps you. And within about 3 weeks, his symptoms all started to go away. And that's why I'm vegan now. Like I did it for him, but because I didn't want to make him do it by himself. So I did it for him, and that's when I started cooking differently. But then I started feeling amazing because I had a lot of sinus problems and digestion problems back then. And then I noticed how much better I felt. And so I'm like, well, I'm going to stay vegan now. So that was how it all started. It was to heal him, but it ended up changing my life and, of course, my career and everything. And here we are, like almost 13 years later.
Yeah, isn't gout an interesting ailment? And it afflicts typically like one of your big toes, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. His heels, his elbows, his knees, but mainly the toes. And it affects men mostly 35 and older. And he had, but like doctors told him, he had like one of the worst cases they'd ever seen. Like he was messed up a lot. And it was really hard taking care of him and a kid. So
I can't even imagine. And you know, when I think back to some cartoons that I've seen about gout, it's usually like somebody of high royalty that's eating like a thing of mutton, like right off the bone.
yeah.
They got a big glass of red wine next to them. It's like wine and meat that are like the
Yes.
major culprits, it seems, when it comes to gout.
Yes, but however, he didn't drink.
Yeah.
It everything affected him. Chickens, like seafood's really bad too for gout. But the doctors would always tell him to eat more chicken and eat more dairy and yogurt. But so I would, and he would just get worse. I'm like, that's not working. So the doctors just did not know. They would just keep giving him medications. I'm like, hey, I'm gonna have to figure this out myself.
Yeah.
And so I did.
It's interesting, you know, when I was younger, probably in my early teens, this is before our family decided to go whole food plant-based. My mother would get afflicted with gout
Really?
in one of her big toes, and she's a tough woman, and she was in a lot of pain with it.
Oh yeah. It's considered worse than labor.
Yeah.
It's like he would literally scream in pain. It was very horrible to watch.
But right up there with kidney stones.
Yeah. I've never had a kidney stone, but I know people that have had, and that's painful.
So you mentioned your mom, and you know, in the dedication to your new book, which I think it's time, which is called Vegan Wholesome.
Yeah.
How wonderful. It's not vegan highly processed.
Right.
It's not vegan crap. It's vegan wholesome.
Exactly.
Exactly what it should be, right?
Yes.
How veganism should look and feel and taste.
Yes.
So good for you. But your mother, you know, what I love in your dedication, you talk about how your mother kind of taught you, if you're going to dream, you might as well dream big.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. She really did. She believed in me and everything. And she was the person that believed in me the most. Well, her and my dad, but like I would doubt myself a lot in my abilities, and she would always just snap me right back out of that. And so she helped me tremendously with the book and getting the book deal and all of that. So it was, I had to dedicate it to her and my dad. So
Fabulous. And is your mother still alive?
no.
Okay.
No.
So, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. It's hard to talk about. She passed away in August.
Oh, just
Yeah.
okay. Huh.
Yeah, it's like the book. Like I wanted to show her the dedication, surprise her, but that didn't happen. So
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like one of the rocks in your life was your father.
yes, very much. Yeah, he has Alzheimer's now, so he didn't get to see the book either because he's really advanced. So it's hard because like this book was a dream of mine, and they're the two most profound people in my life, and the book came out a little too late for them to, but that's life. But yeah, he the smartest man I've ever known. He's always been there for me. He's always called me his biggest fan, and gives me so much encouragement and wisdom, and he's an incredible person too. So he's still alive, but he's, really advanced in Alzheimer's now, so he barely speaks.
Well, it sounds like you were very, very lucky to have such wonderful parents.
Yes, very.
Congrats on that. Okay, so when did you decide to start writing Vegan Wholesome?
Okay, so probably about 4 years ago, like when I finished my first book, that was in 2018. And, my agent was talking to me about putting out another book, but I wasn't ready at the time. but probably about 4 years ago, I knew I wanted, I started getting more active into fitness, and I knew I wanted to do my next book more health focused than my first book, and more, I guess, protein focused, because I started sharing workouts online. And when I started doing that, people started asking me for protein recipes, like higher protein, and or more for people who work out. So that was when I started writing recipes back then, and then it just morphed into more protein focused. It's not just protein. Like, not every recipe is full of protein. I mean, there's plenty of options, but I also, there's also regular ones that aren't protein heavy, but there's a ton of, dinners and lunches and entrees that are full of high protein. And if you want to, and I also give tips on how you can increase the protein if you're trying to build muscle mass, because not all my followers do. I would say probably maybe half or more do, but a lot of them don't. They just like my recipes. So it's geared for anybody.
Yeah. But I think we should be clear that just eating more protein is not going to allow you to grow more muscle. You need to be in the gym. You need to be
Yes.
basically stressing your body and those muscles to allow the adaptation to.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're not going to grow just if you eat more protein. You can't just sit around and just eat protein and grow muscles.
Well, I know, but the crazy thing is that's what a lot of people seem to think that way.
No.
And if that was the case, we'd have a lot of Arnold Schwarzeneggers out there.
Yeah.
Because a lot of America is, I love to say, protein toxic. I mean,
Yeah.
we're getting our protein from the wrong kind of protein.
Yeah.
So I am so enamored with the recipes in this book, but I don't want to dive in yet because I still want to unearth a lot of really cool information about you. And I think that it can benefit a lot of people that are out there. So if you're comfortable, I'd love for you to talk about the difficult period that you went through around your divorce and some of the depression that went along with that. Because to me, what is on the other side of that is so absolutely glorious. And you went through all this pain, but on the other side was something equally as amazing on the other,
Yeah.
that wasn't painful.
Right.
It was joyful.
Yes. Yeah, I'm in a very healthy, happy place now. I was very unhappy in my marriage. My ex-husband is a wonderful father, but it wasn't a healthy marriage. And it was, I don't want to say too much, because I don't want to say anything about him. We get along fabulous. We co-parent well. But we were married, we were together 19 years, married 17. And it was a very dark time leading up to my divorce. And the way that I dealt with it that's when I started to work out. And I guess I could say, back up to this. My dream since I was a little girl was to be a ballroom dancer. Like, I love dancing. I dance every day in my apartment. It's just something that I feel free, and I don't work, like, all my stresses go away. And it just is the one thing that I've done my entire life. Like, as a teenager, dancing in my bedroom, I would dance to Michael Jackson. I would just do my own thing. And it's just something that I was, like, just born with. My dad was a big dancer too, and so was my mom. So that's something I always wanted to do, and I never really had the chance or the opportunity. And so when I got divorced, I started working out to deal with that, and I started dancing more while I was still married. I'm sorry if I'm kind of rambling. I'm just trying to piece it all together.
Yeah.
And so I started dancing a lot in my bedroom while I was still married, and working out. And that helped me to deal with the depression. It helped me to not focus on it, and helped me mentally. And then when I got divorced, my heart started burning for, okay, it's time. This is your chance. It's time to start following your dream of dancing. And there was nothing that could stop me at that point. So that's when I finally went to Fred Astaire. It's here in Cyprus, and met my teacher. His name's Richie. And I told him my dreams, and that I was in a depression at the time, and that I wanted to pursue what I'd always dreamed of, because I couldn't ignore it. Like that, when you feel something, it's just like burning, you can't stop thinking about it, and everything's full of it in your mind. And so that was 3 years ago, maybe like 3.5 years ago now. And I just started taking dance lessons with him, and I started doing competitions. And my first competition, I got first place. And so it was like fulfilling a lifelong dream that I had accepted I would never be able to have. So then I realized you can make it happen. But you have to, first of all, you can't let fear stop you. Like that I was afraid to start, because I was afraid, well, what if I embarrass myself? What if I'm not capable? All those things. But I forced myself to do it. And through that, I started sharing my dance journey with my followers, because I wanted to be as real and authentic as possible. And I was honest about my divorce and everything, because people started noticing some things. So I just started being completely honest with everybody, what I was going through and pursuing my dance. And then a lot of my followers joined dance studios. And they still message me, oh, I'm so happy you share your dance journey. I love to see your food and your dancing. I've started dancing now, or my husband and I have started dancing. So I just believe that you can come from a very dark place to a really positive place, but you have to make those changes yourself. Like, it's not going to come to you. You have to do it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and did you reach out to your parents at all during this period? Were they also saying, go for the dancing and get out?
Yeah, they helped me tremendously through all of that. That was a very tough time. I would call them daily, and they knew that I always wanted to be a dancer, and they absolutely encourage. They've always been like that. Anything that I want to do, they encourage, and they love to see my dancing videos. And my dad would just cry when I would show them to him. He's real sentimental, and so they didn't come to the competitions. They're really involved. They're like 3 days, all day long dancing. So it's not something that you want to sit at all day long. But yeah, they're huge supporters and encouragers. So they were really proud of me.
Well, and in your foreword of your book, you talk about how important your dance instructors were to you, right? So you mentioned Richie. There's also Tim and Barnabas.
Yes.
Right? And
you said it right.
And what's really nice about all of them, and two of them are Hungarian, is that you honor all three with recipes kind of in their names.
Yes.
If I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yeah. There's Richie. There's a Hungarian polenta casserole. And all three of them gave me a recipe that was not vegan, that I totally transformed and made vegan. But yeah, there's Richie and Tim. Tim is the Greek one, and then Barnabas is Hungarian. And both Richie and Tim are the two that I do competitions with. They're at two different studios, but they're the ones who have taught me like 10 plus dances. I mean, everything from the waltz, the Viennese waltz, the foxtrot, tango, rumba, like salsa. I've learned all of these dances because of them. So the reason they're so important to me is because they helped me to achieve my dream. And they're mentors to me. They've listened to my struggles and my fears, and they're always encouraging me. And their wives also work at the studio. So we're all it's like a big family, honestly. I mean, I have a huge community of dance friends now that dance with the same teachers. So it's complete. The whole thing has completely changed my life, because I have all these new friends now that share the same passion. And then we all get to compete at the competitions together. But all three of them have encouraged me, believed in me. And I would say the biggest thing, they don't let me doubt myself. Like they're such positive people that whenever I'm like, oh my God, I always have a thing where the week before a competition, I freak out, and I usually hurt something, a knee, a foot or something. And they're, and they know me. They know me. They're like, we know what you're doing. We know you're freaking out. You're second guessing yourself. But they just have a way of turning everything into comedy.
Yeah.
and encouragement and positivity. And it's like, I couldn't do it without them. Like I wouldn't be where I'm at without them. So it was just like, I have to dedicate, a recipe to them.
So between like the foxtrot and the rumba and some of the other dances that you just rattled off, is there one that's your absolute favorite?
Yeah, the rumba.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, that's my absolute.
what is the rumba? I don't even know what the rumba is.
It's like it's hard to explain it without showing it. I'm not going to show it, but it's like it's like a 4-step box, like
Yeah.
movement, but it's a lot of hip, and there's like, I know I'm doing these moves. It's like slow and then stop and slow. And it's like a sensual dance, but it's romantic kind of, but it's not, you're not like on each other. You know what I mean? It's not like that. But it's a very beautiful dance. And I used to watch it on Dancing with the Stars. I watched Dancing with the Stars for years. And every time I'd see them do that, I'm like, I want to know how to do that dance because it's such a beautiful dance. So when my very first time I walked in the studio, I told Richie, I'm here to learn the rumba. So that was like my first lesson. And so.
And it sounds like Barnabas is your teacher when you need just pure fun, right? He's the fun teacher.
Yeah, I take strictly bachata lessons with him. I haven't taken lessons with him in many, many months though. But he's not the one who prepares me for competitions. He was the one I would do shows with. But the other two were to prepare me for competition. I would just learn bachata dances with him and knows where, because every competition there's like a night where there's just performances for all the students. And so we would just do bachata performances. So, but yeah, it's been a while since I've danced with him.
So what is the bachata?
There's different forms of bachata. There's just basic, like it's a 1, 2, 3. It's like a hip movement. You go to the side. And then I don't know how to describe it, but it's a more passionate dance.
Uh-huh.
But there's regular bachata, and then there's sensual bachata. But it's a lot of hip movement.
Okay, a lot of gyrations.
Yeah, well, not necessarily. It depends.
Okay.
Like
All right.
you can control what you do.
Yeah. Okay. So are you still competing after you got the first place medal?
Oh yeah, I've done many competitions. I've done many of them. I have not done one since I think it was September. The last one I did was in September. It was shortly after my mother passed away. And I dedicated like the whole competition was, I had her in my mind. Because you get really nervous when you're going to compete, of course. There's a panel of judges and you want to do well. And it's real nerve-wracking, but I had an amazing amount of peace and calm that day because I literally was just like, I felt her. I kept looking at her photo the whole time. Each time before I'd go up to do a dance, I would look at her and I would imagine her watching me. And I placed really well. It was my best smooth dance. It was a smooth dancing where I did the waltz, Viennese waltz, and foxtrot and tango. And so those are like the smooth dances in the comp. Like if you can do either the smooth or the rhythm, which would be the salsa, rumba or swing. But it was the smooth competition I did. And it was like my best dancing I did to date. And I know it's because of my mom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. You're all about self-love.
Very much.
And what would you say are the key components that comprise self-love?
A big thing for me is gratitude, finding gratitude in your life. Because I feel like if you're not able to look around at what you have in your life and be grateful for what you have in your life, it's hard to love your life and love yourself because you're focused on the opposites. You know what I mean? Like that was big for me because in the past, I would tend to focus on all the things that I was missing or didn't have or struggling with. But then I started to shift that. And also I believe that to be healthy, not just physically, it has to be mental. And that is again, focusing on what you have in your life and being grateful for what you have in your life and doing something you're passionate about. Because I feel like if you do something you're passionate about, you are loving yourself because you're doing something that's important to you. And I used to be the kind of person that was a people pleaser, and I wanted to do everything for everybody else. I wanted to make them happy because that's something that actually gives me great joy, is doing things for other people. That's how my mother was, and I'm a lot like my mother. But there also can be where you do too much of that and you neglect anything that's important to yourself. And you cannot be healthy, I don't think, if you're not doing something for yourself. Whether that's you like to go run, or, you know, you play an instrument, or you dance, or you paint. I feel like that's so important to do something that you love because it fulfills you. And then you're better for the other people in your life. Especially if you have children, you know what I mean? Like if you give everything to everybody else but nothing for yourself, you're going to be depleted. And
Your daughter, Olivia, must be very, very proud of what you've accomplished.
yeah, she won't say it. She's almost 14, so it's not something she'll like say. I mean, she's like the kind of person that will write it down. Like when she gives me cards, she'll write things, you know, like, I'm so happy you're my mommy. I'm so, you know, proud of you. Thank you so much for being there but she's not real, like, she doesn't verbalize it. I mean, I'll say, oh, look, like when I got the book, I was like, look, you're in the book and it hit #1. And she's like, oh, great. I'm like, isn't that exciting? And she's like, yeah. Like, that's about as much as I get from her. But
Right.
she's a teenager, so it's okay.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna turn our attention back to this. The vegan wholesome. You say high protein meals and snacks to energize and nourish. And you also, I'd love to, before I show everybody some of your delectable recipes, I'd love for you to talk to us a little bit about your eating philosophy that you referenced in this book. And, you know, you start with, well, I'll let you do it unless you want me to prompt you with what that is.
Well, I believe that you need to have a balanced meal. You know, there's some people that focus maybe just on carbs or fats. You know, some diets out there that focus on one specific nutrient, and I believe it should be balanced. I believe you need protein, carbs, and healthy fats. And I like to get my carbs from, you know, not just, you know, the lower calorie carbs like the, you know, vegetables and things like that, but also a more hearty carb like potatoes or rice or whole grains. And then, of course, the protein like tofu or lentils. Of course, lentils have more carbs in them, but they're still high in protein. And then I like a little bit of fat, whether it's a, you know, a drizzle of tahini or, you know, a healthy homemade sauce made from cashews or something, or avocado, olives, anything like that, because I feel like that's satiating and that helps me to feel satisfied. And I'm not starving in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and it doesn't have to be a lot, you know, just need a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's the protein, it's a starchy carb, it's a
Correct.
non-starch carb, and then it's basically some sort of a fat.
Yeah, a little bit of fat. Yeah, you don't need much because the carbs help, of course.
And you're very much in alignment with my father and other people's philosophy as far as you don't cook with any added oils, correct?
Right. Well, I will use like a little bit of nonstick spray,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, like a cake or something. But yeah, I don't cook in oil.
Right.
So I mean, I have like a little bit like special occasions, like if I make a cake and I want to put a frosting, I will use, you know, like vegan butter. But that's like once or twice a year. It's not something that I like to use very often. And my daughter actually does not like frosting,
Yeah.
surprisingly. But so.
So when you're doing a stir fry, you don't start with a half a cup of
Oh,
extra virgin olive oil.
no, I use broth.
Yeah.
And it works. You got to have the right kind of pan, and you got to watch it and move it around. And so it works.
All right. I'm going to throw out a couple things, and I just want you to tell me what your opinion is about this. Snacking. Do you snack at all during the day?
Honestly, no, not much. I mean, I'm not like the same kind of eater every day. Depends on my schedule. Like sometimes, I mean, I have snacks that I'll make like granola and stuff, but I don't just like sit around and like snack on chips or crackers or anything. Or if I do, I'll have like, I love hummus. like hummus and broccoli and carrots, or hummus and, maybe some healthy crackers or something. But I don't snack a lot. No, I'd say I like my meals big. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
like large, hefty meals. So if I happen to be super busy and I don't eat much, like in the morning or something, I'll eat like a gigantic dinner to make up for it. Because I always know how to kind of I don't count my calories, but I just know based on my own body how I kind of keep it, consistent each day with.
Yeah. Well, amen. Amen to large, hefty meals.
Yes.
Yeah. What about perfection? And I know that's something you talk about in your book. What's
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
what's your position on perfection versus the alternative?
I do not like the word perfection. I completely disagree with trying to be perfect. When I first went vegan, I tried that, and I tried to eat everything perfectly, which made me paranoid about every calorie or a drop of oil if I was in a restaurant or whatever. But I do not believe in that at all now. I'm way more relaxed about it. And a lot of that's because of my daughter, because I don't want her growing up
Mhm.
thinking, oh, if she has a cupcake or something, then she's horrible. Or I don't want her looking at food as something to be paranoid about. I want her to enjoy food. And especially as I get older, I know it sounds so cliche, but life is really short. Especially after losing my mother, I'm even more like that. I just don't stress about that anymore. Like if I go out to eat, I do not stress if there's oil in the food. I mean, I know that a lot of people are against oil, and I understand that. For me, that's just not something I worry about anymore, because I know I'm eating healthy and cooking, the majority of my meals. And I've raised my daughter, vegan. She's never had dairy. She's never had meat. And she loves kale. She loves vegetables. She loves broccoli. She loves fruit. I've raised her eating those things. But I also am not going to tell her on Halloween she can't have candy or something. I don't want to be that. That's for me. She has a balance, and she also has self-control because I've taught her that. So like, if I make ice cream or something, or buy vegan ice cream at the store, she'll ask, Mommy, can I have some ice cream? She will eat a few bites and stop. She has self-control because she's been raised with that. And I believe that's because I've taught her a balance, as opposed to if you're totally restricted and never allowed anything. I feel like that can lead to, you know, problems later, or overindulging if you feel like you have to be perfect all the time.
Mhm. Mhm. No, I think those are all excellent points. What about counting calories? I mean, I know you said that you don't count calories now, but did you used to count calories? And was that something? It seems like a lot of, and I think more women than men seem to be kind of caught up with the calorie counting.
Yeah, no, I do not count calories. I did just for the book because a lot of my readers want the nutritional information, but so I included it. But before I had my daughter, in 2011, in 2010, I did a fitness competition, like a figure competition, and you had to count your calories for that. And that was enough to teach me to never want to do it again, because this is what I'm saying. Having to eat perfect to prepare for a competition and having to watch every single calorie, it literally made me want to just binge on cookies and all that. It made me crazy. And I know that some people need that, maybe if they're trying to lose a lot of weight and they need to focus, maybe to get used to the calories of what's in foods, just so they understand. But I know what's in the foods now, so I kind of, in my mind, know what I'm eating. But I by no means do that. I eat satisfied. If I ate something maybe a little not so great, I'll make up for it at dinner later in the day. Or I have a balance and knowledge of what's in most things. And I also go by how I feel.
Yeah. You recommend, and correct me here if I'm not saying this right, I think that people get a scale because for maybe a lot or most of your recipes, you want people to weigh out the ingredients. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay.
And that's because I've been cooking with the scale for many, many years now. It will create accurate results. When people are measuring with flours, everybody measures differently. Some people scoop, some people dump, and even then, you're not going to get the same amount. Whereas if you follow the gram weights I have listed, you will get the exact result. And a lot of my readers have been using a scale for many years because of that. And they all say that I've become to love to, cook with a scale because it's so easy. You literally never have to get out a measuring cup again. You just dump it in the bowl, hit 0, look for the gram weight list. It creates accurate results. And I don't want people having a bad result because they measured differently or not accurately with the cups.
Yeah, that is so interesting. I'm just looking now. Yeah, you do have the exact gram weight for every.
Yeah.
But you don't. I'm not seeing it, for example, on herbs and spices, right? Or you say a teaspoon. So there you go.
Yeah. Because when it's too small of amount, then the kitchen scale won't be accurate. It can be off. So it's just easier just to get like a teaspoon. But anything like tablespoons or above, especially with liquids, you don't need you just use the scale. It's so much easier.
All right, are you ready to dive into the book?
Yes.
think we've waited long enough.
Yes.
I am so excited to try every recipe that we're going to talk about right now. So the first one I want to talk about, because I'm such a fan of pancakes and chocolate chips, is your chocolate chip sheet pan pancakes on page 27.
Yeah, those are so good.
And look, everybody, look at that. And sheet pan. I mean, how brilliant. Sheet pan pizzas. And what can you tell me about this recipe? How'd you discover it?
Well, sheet pancakes have been done a million times. I didn't come up with the idea. They're all over Google. But of course, they tend to be made with eggs or milk or oil. That's the thing. Like so many of the recipes have oil in them or butter or things like that. And of course, my recipe is made with whole wheat and it's healthier. It doesn't have the eggs. It doesn't have the dairy. It doesn't have the butter. But they're still really, really fluffy. And that is because I use potato starch in them. Potato starch acts as eggs in pancakes. And you won't even see hardly any vegan. I'm giving away my secret here, but you won't really even see many vegan pancake recipes with that. And a lot of vegan pancakes, they're gross. They're dense, they're mushy, they're raw, and they're not cooked in the center. And that's because they're missing eggs. So the best way to mimic eggs is starch. And potato starch makes things extremely fluffy. You can't tell they're not missing eggs because of the starch. And that was a secret I discovered years ago when I started gluten-free baking, because I got tired of eating the pancakes with they're not cooked in the middle. They're like dense and mushy. That's gross to me.
So the baking powder, doesn't that also contribute to the fluffiness factor?
Yes, it does, but they'll still end up dense without the potato starch.
Oh.
Like if you eat a pancake, if you eat a regular vegan pancake and then eat my pancake with the potato starch, you're going to see how fluffy they are. And I got tons of them on my website, and you'll see all the reviews that that it's true. The potatoes or cornstarch too works.
So do you have a preference, potato or cornstarch?
It depends on the other ingredients. Potato starch will make them fluffier. The one thing about potato starch though versus cornstarch, because I know how every single starch works, potato starch will dry out quicker. So you gotta, eat them the same day, because the next day they're going to be more drier. Yeah. Cornstarch they'll stay moist longer. So
you know what a great, valuable little tidbit right there.
Yeah,
I love that. Okay, everybody, all the Plant Strong podcast listeners know that I'm a chocolateaholic. I really am.
Same.
And so you've got the chocolate protein pancakes.
Oh yes.
And that photo on page 31 is ridiculous.
I know. Isn't that a good photo?
Yeah, I got to say, who in the world did your photography?
Me.
Seriously?
I did the entire book. I even did the cover.
I mean, wow. Are you sure you're not a perfectionist?
Okay, maybe I am.
I call you on that.
I am with my work, yes. I want everything to look great. I'm not a perfectionist in my life by any means, but with my work, I want to showcase the food, because obviously you eat with your eyes first. So if it doesn't look good, nobody's going to make it.
So who is dripping that maple syrup onto the pancakes while you're doing the photography?
I think I was. Wait,
what?
Wait, I'm trying to think. It was either me. Wait, was that me? No, it had to be. It was either me or Olivia. Because I know it sounds crazy, but I will literally hold my camera with my right hand and then take my left hand and drip stuff and then shoot it. I do that with a lot. I do that with a lot of my.
How many times? How many times were you like, Olivia, get over here? I need your help.
Oh yeah. Oh, I've done that since she was a toddler. Yeah.
Olivia, can you get off the screen and come over and help?
All the time. And I've used her hands, like in the grilled cheese in the back at the end of the book. Those are her little hands from when I first wrote the recipe. Her cute little hands. I've used her hands for so many pictures because she's got the cutest little hands, of course.
All right, let's move on to page 37.
Okay.
Another one that's after my heart, and that's the sweet jalapeno cornbread waffles.
Those are so good.
Oh.
Yep, that was I wanted to come up with a different kind of waffle idea because everybody thinks, of course, of like chocolate chip or vanilla or something. But I thought I love cornbread, and I'm sure a lot of people have jalapeno cornbread, which is super yummy. But since this is a waffle, they're sweet, so there's a little bit more maple syrup in them. So you get that sweetness that balances out with the spiciness of the jalapeno, and of course the corn is sweet. So they're really, really good.
You know, when I first came down to Austin, Texas from Cleveland, Ohio, I loved bagels. And I got introduced to jalapeno bagels.
Oh.
And I thought it was like a joke. Like,
yeah. I never had that.
In a bagel. And now it's one of my favorite bagels in the whole wide world is a jalapeno bagel. So I saw this recipe.
Yeah.
And again, every one of the ones that I am showing you right now, I'm going to make. I really truly will.
Yeah.
So next I want to go to is page 44.
Okay.
Because again,
they're
after my heart, the chocolate lentil protein muffins. I mean,
wow. Those are so good. Those have been made by a lot of my readers, and they're all blown away by them because they can't believe there's no lentil. I mean, they can't believe that you can't taste the lentils because you cannot taste the lentils in the end product. Now, when you mix up the batter, you taste the lentils, like the batter before you bake it, but the end product, you cannot tell. They're just super chocolatey and moist and fluffy.
And so in this one, this recipe and the jalapeno waffles, you're not using potato starch. You're using like tapioca in these.
Yes.
And is there a reason why?
Yes, there is. Okay. Tapioca starch helps bind and keep things more moist. So they act better as eggs in baking, whereas potato starch, I do use potato starch in some baking, but tapioca, it binds better. It's more like an egg. Whereas potato starch, if I use potato starch in these, they would fall apart. It'd be too crumbly because they would dry out. I know it's hard to explain, but I've been baking for so long, I know exactly which starch is going to work with what type of other ingredients. And
what would happen if you used tapioca starch in the
pancakes?
In the pancakes, yeah.
They would be gummy and dense. They wouldn't be soft and fluffy. They would be more chewy because tapioca makes things more chewy, and it's based on the other ingredients. But since there's whole wheat flour in the pancakes, that already has gluten in them, from the whole wheat. So if you then add tapioca to the gluten, it's going to make the pancakes too chewy. So
you know your stuff. Wow.
That's through lots of failed gluten-free baking at the beginning of when I started all this. Lots of fails.
So we're gonna fly through. We're gonna move to page 109.
Okay.
And obviously, you talk so highly of Richie, and this is the Hungarian salt polenta margarita. And look at this, everyone. Look at this photo. It's so delicious looking. And if you aren't watching and you're just listening to the audio version of this podcast, I'm sorry.
Yeah. It's like it's a traditional Hungarian dish where basically it's just to allow the readers to picture it if they're not watching. It's like a polenta casserole with like a pesto mixed in and then topped with mozzarella cheese and fresh basil. But of course, this is the original version, of course, is made with lots of dairy, and mine is not. But I use my homemade mozzarella cheese, which is the one of my most popular recipes. It's so good, and of course, there's no oil in it. There's no starches in it, but it browns and it's phenomenal. So lots of mozzarella cheese on top. It's so good. Like when I made this, I ate like half the pan after I tested it. It was so good.
So let's move on to, this is what you said in the book, if I'm not mistaken,
Uh-huh.
is your pride and joy when it comes to the chapter. And that is the soul satisfying soups. You love this.
Oh, yes. Yes. I could eat soup every day of my life. It's my favorite thing to eat.
And I just want to show people, look at the photo for, this is that she's used. I mean,
I'm so glad you said that. That's my favorite picture.
it's amazing. And then the recipe that I wanted to talk to you about was the creamy Mexican potato and white bean soup.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the first recipe. It's on page 123.
Mm-hmm.
There it is, everybody. And of course, with a little side of almost looks like rustic white bread that I want to dip in there. Yum.
Yeah, it's super hearty and yummy and filling and lots of healthy carbs and white beans and good for you, but also healthy. No oil. Don't need it. You got a little bit of avocado on top for some healthy fat. And
yeah. Do you have a favorite type of bread that you like to eat with soups?
I guess I like a French baguette. I like also Italian bread, but my actual favorite bread is pumpernickel bread. That's like my favorite bread to eat.
It's got to be authentically pumpernickel, though, right?
Yeah, I love hearty, grainy, deep flavored breads, which I know a lot of people like basic white bread, but to me, the deeper, the more robust flavor, the better. Like, so good.
The more soulful.
Yes, so good.
Page 129, we got the veggie pot pie soup. I love a pot pie, but I haven't eaten them in years just because typically the crusts are just
Full of
loaded.
butter and oil, yeah.
Yeah, but so look at this. I mean,
So
so
good.
you've devised a way to get the best of both worlds.
Right. My daughter loves this one. She loved this one. This was one of the ones I tested probably close to 4 years ago, and it was so good. And of course, at the time I was married, and my ex-husband loved it as well. Like it tastes just like a pot pie, but of course, the tortilla gives a little bit of the crust, touch to it, but without all the oil.
Yeah, and I have to just, this is your, on page 132. You got your lentil soup with turmeric and lemon. And
Yes.
look at the close up of that photo. It is just.
That's a really good one too. That one actually is originally on my website, but it was such a favorite with my readers. That's why I put it in the book, because it has tons of 5-star recipes. It's really, really yummy.
Oh, yeah. So your soup section is world class.
Thank you. Thank you.
It really is. Huge congrats on that. All right, let's go to page 162, because this is one of my favorite things in the whole wide world, and that's a really good mac and cash.
Oh yeah.
Right? Mac and cheese. And so this, you call this the protein packed mac and cheese.
Yes.
Talk to me about this recipe.
Okay. That one is probably, I would say, the number one recipe by people who have bought the book and made it out of the entire book. Because a lot of vegan mac and cheese, they fail to deliver on that, really cheesy, nostalgic flavor and texture. Yeah. I've had a lot of vegan mac and cheeses, and they've fallen short on a cheesy texture, but also flavor. And this one, I tested this one so many times to get it right, and it is so good. And even my mother, who of course was not vegan, raved over. And I've had every person, I would say pretty much every person who has made it said it's the best vegan mac and cheese they've ever had. And I'm not lying. I post reviews of it all the time on my Instagram stories because it's that popular. It's so good, and it's worth the book purchase alone. It's so good. So and you can tell by the photo.
If you had to choose between, you've got an open 2 hours in the afternoon.
Okay.
Are you going to make a recipe or two or three, or are you going to go ballroom dancing?
Oh, I'd go dancing.
I
I'd go dancing for sure.
get
Because I
it.
cook all the time, so I
Yeah.
like breaks from cooking. That's why I kind of like to go out to eat because I like a break. You know what I mean? So, but I would choose dancing for sure.
I know what you mean. Okay. This, you said earlier in our conversation, you like something that's food that's hefty and substantial. And
Very.
that's what I love about all your recipes. And people always ask me, how did you get a bunch of Texas male firefighters to
Yeah.
do that? And I said, we just basically made mantastic food,
Yeah.
like their favorites, but we just plant strongified them. And to me,
Right.
that's what you've done so brilliantly. Like I look at this Cajun spinach artichoke pasta,
Oh, yeah.
and that is so substantial looking.
Yes.
It's like I look at the variety of textures and colors and shapes, and I literally am starting to drool.
Good. Then my job is working. But I totally agree with you because I feel like a lot of people, just from a lack of knowledge, feel like vegan food is salads or green smoothies, and that's why they fear it. And they say, oh, because people, oh, I can never be vegan. I'm like, if you eat my recipes or see my recipes and you serve them, you won't feel that way because we're not living off of just carrots. You know what I mean? I make the same things my mom would make. I just veganize them.
Yeah.
But I want to feel satisfied and full. I can't stand eating something and still being hungry 10 minutes later. It has to be satisfying because you're not going to get people interested in plant-based eating if it doesn't, remind them of their favorite foods. You know what I mean? So it's super important to me that it's hearty, like you said.
Yeah. Let's move on to page 208.
Okay.
I am always looking for a really great, like meatball.
Oh yeah, those are really good.
I should say, plant ball
Yeah.
that I can put with my pasta dish or something. So you have pizza chickpea balls,
Yes.
and I want to know from you, how good are they?
They're delicious. They taste like pizza.
So
And that was
this is more of a snack then. Is
yes,
that
this is
correct?
like it had because there's the little dipping sauce, the pizza sauce or slash marinara sauce. So they're you can pick them up. They're not going to make your hands all messy, and then you just dip them in the sauce, and it's like a little little snack. I mean, you could serve them over pasta totally, but this is kind of like more like a little snack. But they have the flavors of pizza in them, so you're going to get the nutritional benefits of the chickpeas and the healthy carbs and protein, but there's sun-dried tomatoes in them and, the Italian spices and all that. So it does taste like pizza, but in
Yeah.
a chickpea ball form.
It just
Healthy
looks,
way.
yeah, and you've got some coconut aminos in here.
Yes, that adds depth of flavor.
Mm-hmm. And obviously nutritional yeast and red pepper flakes.
Yep. And the rice makes it hearty. And of course, the breadcrumbs and the fresh basil. The basil is super important. Like some people will be like, oh, I'll just use dried basil. And my recipes that I'm calling for fresh basil, especially in the actual recipe, not just a topping, I would say it's definitely important to use fresh basil because it adds a tremendous amount of overall flavor.
When you use chickpeas, like for these pizza chickpea balls,
Mm-hmm.
what do you do with the aquafaba, that
Oh,
or the
yeah.
chickpea juice? Do you kind of throw it out, or do you save it for something?
Uh,
Okay,
yeah, I kind
you
of
throw
throw
it
it
out.
out.
Okay.
I know some people save it and use it for, quote unquote eggs or in baking, but I have a couple of recipes where I use it, but I prefer the results of starches
Uh-huh.
over aquafaba. And plus aquafaba doesn't, I don't know. It depends on what you're using it for. I know some people use it to make mousse or something,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I can't imagine how that'd probably upset my stomach, honestly.
It's gold, Brandy. It's gold.
Okay, I haven't dug
Okay.
dipped enough.
Brandy, you again, I don't know why you're trying to tease me like this, but on page 217, these chocolate tahini cookies. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
look at this. Look at this, people. It's a
yeah,
two-page photo of these things.
yeah. Those are so good. Those have gotten rave reviews as well.
Oh my
And
God.
no oil. Of course, the fat in them is the tahini.
Sure.
Of course, it's made from sesame seeds, and those are healthy too. I probably wouldn't call the cookies healthy because they're it's still a dessert, but they're healthier than like ones full of butter or oil, of course.
Well, and listen, let's call a spade a spade. I mean, these are desserts, right? And this is,
Exactly.
you don't think any of us, you or me, are advocating for this every night of the week, but
Exactly.
special occasions, maybe, 2 or 3 times a month, I think a really wonderful dessert is
Yes.
a great treat.
Right. And I believe that the dessert should taste like a dessert and not like it's severely lacking in something. Otherwise, what's the point?
Now, whenever it's my birthday, we go to a place here in Austin, Texas called Mr. Natural, and I get their strawberry shortcake, vegan cake, right?
Uh-huh.
It literally melts in your mouth.
Oh, wow.
I actually prefer it to the chocolate cake. It's what I get. You have an almond cream strawberry shortcakes on 215
Yes.
that looks dynamite.
Yeah, that's really, really yummy. And it's not full of butter like a traditional, shortcake or milk. The almonds is my little secret there. I literally soak them and make a cream out of the almonds, and then that is the fat in them, and it gives the most incredible, like, cream taste in your mouth, and of course texture. It's amazing.
Okay. I got one more for you.
Okay.
One more. I could go through this with you for hours.
Yeah.
And that is, let's go to page 224. You have a sweet potato cake.
Oh yes, I love sweet potatoes. My
And
favorite food.
oh my. There's a certain just simplicity in this
Yes.
that I'm attracted to.
Yeah,
And
very simple cake.
Yeah. Yeah. And do you have a certain type of sweet potato? I find sweet potatoes are so variable.
Yeah, not just a plain old orange one.
Yeah.
I know some people like the purple Japanese ones, but those are kind of hard to find. But yeah, no, it's just regular, like real simple. It's a real simple cake. But it's a healthier cake, but it still tastes, really amazing and moist. And sweet potato is my favorite food. Like out of all foods, it's my favorite food. So I love using sweet potatoes. I have a ton of desserts that use sweet potatoes, a ton of them. Like there's a sweet potato caramel in the book as well, made from sweet potatoes.
Brandy, if people want to get a copy of Vegan Wholesome, what's the best way for them to get a copy?
They can go to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, pretty much anywhere online, and just look up Vegan Wholesome. Always message me. And I do have bonus recipes that I will still honor people that are watching this. Get 10 free bonus recipes if they order my book as well.
Brandy, I just got to say that your recipe book really grabbed me, and I am going to make these recipes. My family's going to go crazy over them, and this will become a mainstay in our kitchen. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That means a lot to me. Thank you.
Absolutely. So, Brandy, before we leave and before you give me a virtual Plant Strong fist bump, can you just give us 1 or 2 pull-ups and show us how it's done?
I sure will. Are you ready?
We're ready.
Let me move my chair out of the way.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Y'all can see me, right?
We can see you great. Whoa, there's 1. There's 2. That's incredible. There's 3. Don't hurt yourself. 3 is awesome. Wow. Everybody. God. Brandy, give me a Plant Strong fist bump. That was amazing. Wow. You are a Plant Strong machine. Way to be.
I could say I've never done that before on a podcast.
Well, there's always a first.
Yes.
I want to give a big thanks to Brandy for sharing her inspiring journey and proving that wholesome plant-based cooking doesn't have to be complicated to be absolutely crave-worthy. Vegan Wholesome, Her new book is available wherever books are sold, and I'll be sure to put a link in today's show notes to make it an absolute snap for you to order. Until next time, keep it simple, keep it wholesome, and always, always keep it plant strong. The Plant Strong podcast team includes Carrie Barrett, Lori Kordowich, and Amy Mackey. If you like what you hear, do us a favor and share the show with your friends and loved ones. You can always leave a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And while you're there, make sure to hit that follow button so that you never miss an episode. As always, this and every episode is dedicated to my parents, Dr. Caldwell B. Esselstyn Jr. and Ann Cryle Esselstyn. Thanks so much for listening.